Well. Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. First of all, I apologize. I was trying to clean out my teeth right then and there. Welcome to the Post-Geek Singularity community for the 101st live Robservations chat. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the new subscribers and all of you who have not subscribed. Please do so. And as always, remember, this channel is sponsored by Lucky Tiger Men's Grooming Products for men who want to look good and feel great. As you know, I've been trying to get their CEO, Alan Murphy, to talk to me. Yesterday, I actually did a pre-recorded interview with him, which I'm going to share with you in the next day or two. Fantastic. So thanks, Lucky Tiger. I'm still obsessed with their facial scrub and also their soap that they've discontinued. But he told me that he would get me some, which is pretty cool. So anyway, today, let's just get right into it. First of all, can't get right into it. I have to read a letter. As many of you know, I get reader letters all the time, and I love them. I love what you guys, you members of the Post-Geek Singularity, the letters you send me are amazing. And if you want to send me a letter about any topic, and you want me to share it, please send it to me at the Burnettwork.net. Please tell me that it's okay to share it with the public, with our viewers, the members of the Post-Geek Singularity community. And I have one letter today because I want to get into it. This comes from Leon Flowers Jr. Hey, RMB. I'm such a fan of you. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I'm no longer the notorious RMB. I'm still the sanctimonious RMB. Let's be clear on that before I start. Hey, this again, Leon Flowers Jr. Hey, RMB, I'm such a fan of you and John Campea, and I've always been a fan of genre movies and shows. I'm 32, which has always been such a weird area for me to be in. Most of the time as a child and teenager, I never knew anyone who was into my things that I've been into. I was old enough to see Jurassic Park in theaters, but young enough to have been a major fan of Star Wars prequels. Don't get me wrong, I now think they were bad movies, but enjoyable bad movies. Like I've always said, they're not very good movies, but they're pretty great Star Wars. Nowadays, I rarely see a movie that's bad and still enjoyable. Even today, I will still defend them. What bothers me today is people can't be a fan of something and not like its content. There's a hate it or love it attitude. I'm a major fan of written literature, and to me, no movie will rarely equal the comic book or novel it's based on. But as a fan of comics and novels, I love seeing them be made into TV shows or movies because I know it will reach a wider audience and even more content will be made. I don't see how people get caught up in the person outside a movie and judge a movie based on what an actor or actress may have said. The movie is the movie, and the person is the person. I may personally dislike an actor, but love the movie that was made. For example, I never liked Hayden Christensen as a young Anakin, mostly because I always viewed Darth Vader huge as a scary fictional character. And he never did that for me. I get what George Lucas was going for, but just didn't like it. That never made me dislike or hate George Lucas. He was giving me content and taking me to a galaxy far, far away. I feel like creators are being made scared to make content because a fan will destroy them, which is sad. We all watch and read and write to escape. And when someone doesn't, it hurts us all as a society. Sci-fi and Star Trek in particular has made me wonder and think of what humans might achieve if people finally come together. People like you and John are a gift because I feel like you embolden us all to come out and scream our geek and nerddom. For that, I will love you guys for all time. So I guess what I'm trying to say is thank you for making me, as a lifelong geek and a nerd, cherish all that has been done for me. I know this is long, but I could write all day on how much you, Robert Meyer Burnett, have done for me. You've made dark days bright and made me feel like a kid again, which is what we can all relate to and want. Well, Leon Flowers Jr., thank you for that. And I thought that this letter in particular pretty much laid it all on the line as far as, well, as far as I identified with what you were saying. By the way, I was eating a salad, so if I have like lettuce in my teeth, please forgive me. And it's exactly what I felt today on the Disney lot, starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Pacific Standard Time. I had to turn in my phone. What's interesting is what they do at studios now. Like if you were, I came as John Campia's guest, so I had to put my phone in a sleeve. It's a very thick, very militaristic sleeve that they seal shut with a magnet, so you can't get into your phone. And there's a dampening field around it. At least that's what I think it is. So, you can't tweet, you can't do anything from inside the theater once you're there. So I was on the Disney lot today with John Campia to see Avengers Endgame. Now I should say, like, a lot of people are always taking me to task, like, Rob, you're always so positive, you like so much stuff, so like, why do you hate Star Trek Discovery so much? Or why do you dislike this? And how come you love the MCU as much as you do? Well, it's pretty simple. Kevin Feige, who, as you will read on the internet, had the most applause at Monday night's world premiere of Avengers Endgame. He got the biggest applause because he truly is the architect behind all of it. Kevin Feige worked on 13 Marvel properties before Iron Man in 2008. He worked on the X-Men movies. He worked on Spider-Man movies. He worked on Ghost Rider, Daredevil. He was able to see what worked and what didn't work. He saw different filmmakers' approach. As Captain Kirk would have said, he learned by doing. So when he became the impresario of the MCU, and when the Marvel Cinematic Universe was still based at Paramount, and they made Iron Man, there was a lot of leaps of faith happening. Certainly Robert Downey Jr. was somebody who was deeply troubled. He was in the news not for being a great actor. He's always been a great actor. I mean, I was a big fan of him all the way back into the early 80s. People wonder, like, when I saw Age of Ultron, to me, I was like, oh my God, it's a tough turf reunion. Fritz Kirsch, who directed Children of the Corn, he made a wacky LA gang movie with Kim Richards, who played Tia in Escape from Witch Mountain. And he had James Spader and Robert Downey Jr. as friends in 1985's Tough Turf. So anyway, Kevin Feige learned what to do and what not to do. And so when Marvel made this incredible leap of faith, starting what began the MCU, Iron Man in 2008, he hired Robert Downey Jr., which, by the way, was a huge risk. Could he get insured? I don't know. But Kevin Feige, who, by the way, worked with Richard Donner, he was on the Warner Brothers lot when I was there. He is, and by the way, he'll never get the credit he deserves because he's not David O. Selznick. He's not making Gone with the Wind. He's not making some incredible literary adaptation. He's adapting comic books. But what Kevin Feige did was he knew how to take great characters that had existed for decades already, beloved characters, beloved by generations, whether it was Spider-Man, Captain America, soon to be the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, hopefully, Hulk, Iron Man, all of these characters. He knew, he understood, he knew what people liked. And what Kevin Feige has done since 2008, over the last 11 years, is unprecedented in Hollywood history. 22 films, where if you would ask me in 2007, if people said, Rob, I was a lifelong comic fan. Rob, do you think that they'll ever do an Avengers movie? I would have said, no, they're never going to make an Avengers movie. I would have also said they would have never made a Justice League movie, but I'm like, you can't make an Avengers movie. You'd have to explain who Captain America was, or Thor was, or Iron Man, Doctor Strange. I mean, even Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, was a member of the Avengers. They're never going to make, I mean, you can't do an Avengers movie. And if you did, you probably would have to make a movie about each one of those characters first. And who's going to do that? Little did I know. So, what was it, 2012? The first Avengers movie came out, 7 years ago? I mean, I remember I went to see the Avengers with my good friend, Nikki Griffin. And she had been, of course, in Fast and Furious 3, Tokyo Drift. And she was a huge geek. We'd go to comic book stores together. And I went with her to the first Avengers movie. And I was like, there's no way. I mean, even though we were getting Captain America, Avengers, Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man movies, I was like, there's no way. How can an Avengers movie be good? And we walked out of that movie stunned. I mean, it was astonishing how much fun that was. And here's the thing. These are not just comic book movies. They are science fiction films. They are fantasy movies. They're cop movies, because after all, what are superheroes but cops on steroids, really? Who would have ever believed that we would have received the bounty of riches that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has provided to us? And are all the movies wonderful? No. But even the movies that don't get a lot of love, Iron Man 2, Thor: The Dark World, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 3, which I actually really like, even those films are pretty rousing entertainments. But over 22 movies that have all, up until this weekend, have grossed over $18 billion. Nothing in Hollywood comes close. There has been nothing. And I have been an unabashed lover of these films from day one. I loved Iron Man. I try and see all these movies when they open in the Cinerama Dome. I have tickets this Thursday night at 6 p.m., the first public screening in Los Angeles at the Cinerama Dome in 3D. I will be there. Hope to see you. If you're all there, say hello. I want to go have a drink and have dinner at the bar first. But I was able, because of John Campea and our show, the John Campea Show, that I'm on during the week, I got to see Avengers Endgame today. I'm sorry, I can still feel I have lettuce in my teeth. John saw it last night at the premiere, and if you've read his tweets, he said the first 2 hours were up and down, hit and miss, and then the last hour was amazing. That's all I knew. First of all, I got to say, full disclosure, I thought Infinity War was one of the most amazing, most amazing achievements in fantasy filmmaking. Because here's the thing. Kevin Feige, under his leadership, the Marvel Cinematic Universe knows exactly what it's supposed to be. It's not The English Patient or The Shawshank Redemption. It's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that doesn't mean you can't inject humanity and emotion and pathos the same way that any of the great fantasy franchises, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Lord of the Rings, whether it's Harry Potter, even though these are flights of fancy. And one of my favorite bloggers that a lot of people don't like, but I've enjoyed his writing over the last literally quarter century, Jeffrey Wells, not a big fan of these movies. He'd rather be watching an Antonioni triple bill of his Ennui trilogy of L'Avventura, La Notte, and The Eclipse, which I understand. But to create such flights of fancy is not easy. To make us love these characters, to cherish these people, to internalize these people as if they are our friends. Because after all, I know when I want to party, I party with the Starship Enterprise crew. I party with Michael Corleone and his family. I party with, I don't know, Fran, Pete, Steven, and what is it? Franny, Peter, Steven, and who's the last? Dawn of the Dead crew. Anyway, friends of mine. all of our favorite franchises, the ones that we love the most, we feel a kinship to them. We feel a familial bond. And we've watched the characters of the MCU grow and change over 21 movies, Endgame being the 22nd. And we are attached to these people. They're our friends, they're our family, we care about them. And they've had different kinds of adventures. Iron Man 3, I loved it because it was an examination of one man's PTSD. It didn't have to deal with some apocalyptic, world ending experience, whereas Doctor Strange did. Iron Man 1 was really pretty much ultimately the story of two characters that were fighting over a company. An amazing film nonetheless. I mean, all of these movies are basically about humanity. I love these movies. I adore these films so much. And as a fantasy film fan, what they've done over 22 movies has been amazing. So I loved Infinity War. It brought to life to me what it was like to read, whether it was Crisis on Infinite Earths, whether it was Secret Wars, whether it was Marvels, whatever big, whether it was the Extinction Agenda or the Mutant Massacre. You know, I love my X-Men crossovers. These movies were able to create cinematically in this middle-aged mind the same feeling that I got when I was watching or when I was reading comics, you know, when I was a adolescent, which was amazing. So I loved Infinity War. I thought, despite the ups and downs of these franchises, for the most part, all of these movies are good to great. All of them. They really are. It's a monumental achievement in cinema. So after Infinity War, which I saw with John Schnepp and Amy Dallin, I was blown away. I couldn't believe how wildly entertaining it was, how visionary it was. You know, we look at Lord of the Rings, and we even though Lord of the Rings is outlandishly it's a fantasy. None of it's real, but because it's set in Middle Earth, which is kind of on our planet, we take it seriously. You know, no one's in crazy costumes with bleeding edge technology. So we feel that even Lord of the Rings is more real, more legitimate than these Marvel films. I think that's wrong. I think it's just a mindset. You know, it's a crazy thing. Fantasy is fantasy, science fiction is science fiction. It's all flights of fantasy. And when it's done well, it doesn't matter whether it's John Borman's Excalibur, it doesn't matter whether it's Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy. It doesn't matter if it's done well. Which brings me to Endgame. I don't think in my life, I've said not since I was 13 years old and The Empire Strikes Back opened, have I been as excited to see a movie as I was to see Endgame. And like with Infinity War, I didn't go to the premiere, but the premiere happened. And then the next day, luckily, I was able to see it. I know a lot of spoilers leaked. I had only seen one big one, which I was really pissed off that I had seen, by the way. So I cannot stress enough, go into this movie spoiler-free as possible. And for those of you who feel the need to dump spoilers onto the internet, you people are trash. I want to report all of you to your future employers and any significant others you may have in your life. I want to call them up and say, you are an untrustworthy destroyer of joy, because that's what watching Endgame is. This film exceeded all of my expectations, which were through the roof. I honestly believe that Avengers Endgame could quite possibly be, as far as my anticipation and what I wanted, my expectations were through the roof when it came to Infinity War, and those were exceeded. And I thought, there's no way that Avengers Endgame, no way it could be better. And I didn't know, there were things I wanted from it. Are they going to deal with the snapping? I mean, are they going to deal with the decimation? Are they going to show us what I mean, every single thing that I wanted to see or I was hoping for, or like maybe they'll deal with this, maybe they won't. They did it. Like everything that I wanted from this movie, I got because the people that were making it, and this is the most important thing, knew what they were doing. They had studied, first of all, the Marvel Cinematic Universe began because Kevin Feige knew that, hey, man, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's go back to what made these characters amazing and why people have been reading about them for over half a century. We don't have to go back. And it's not like television writers who get control of a venerable franchise and decide, let's go back and we're going to try and change that franchise and make it better and put our imprintur on it. Well, that's what's happened to Star Trek for the last 10 years. Not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I have never in my life seen a movie like I saw today, a movie that delivered on every expectation, a film that made me, first of all, even before the Marvel Studios logo comes up, my mouth was open. I mean, I was like, seriously, I was. I was emotionally affected. And when the Marvel Studios, I was literally leaning forward in my chair and I was like, oh, shit. Like I was literally emotionally affected before the Marvel Studios logo came up. There's a scene before. And I was like, oh my God. In case you forgot what happened in Infinity War, they don't do any kind of a recap. Let's just make sure you got one little extra added bit of information that you didn't get before, in case you forgot. It was the whole movie was what was so great about it was the people that were making it. I felt that they knew exactly what they were doing. The Russo brothers, Kevin Feige, Marcus and McFeely, the screenwriters who I was familiar with because I worked on the making of stuff from Chronicles of Narnia, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Marcus and McFeely, I mean, talk about doing the heavy lifting. Those guys, they're never going to win an Academy Award for screenplay for what they're doing on these movies, but by God, they deserve one. Because if you like Lord of the Rings, this movie sticks the landing. I said on a tweet, I said, not since the Eagle stuck the landing at Tranquility Base on the moon 50 years ago in 1969 did filmmakers stick the landing the way they did with this movie. I swear to God, I'll stake my reputation on it. Now, here's the thing. Does that mean that, you've won the lottery and that rainbows are going to happen and Rumpelstiltskin's going to spin straw into gold? And no, it's not like that. It's still just a movie. It's still just a superhero movie, if you want to call it that. But in terms of a rousing bit of entertainment, in terms of something that I never thought, people have said, oh, Rob, we really like your positivity. The reason that I'm positive is because I can still tomorrow, or actually today, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday. You know what came out today? A 4K version of Alien. The original Alien came out on 4K disc and Blu-ray today. The reason that I'm always so happy and so optimistic about the world we live in is because what we're getting as geeks, as lifelong, I'm a lifelong fan of this stuff. We are getting the Tiffany standard right now. That's in a little box with a white ribbon, like Tiffany, the jewelry place. Every guy should buy something that for the girl he loves from Tiffany. Trust me, it'll go a long way. I owe my girlfriend Elizabeth something from Tiffany, but we're at peak genre right now. We're getting the best of the best. And watching Endgame, I was sitting there the whole time. I'm like, I can't believe what I'm watching. I love this movie. Is it a perfect film? No. If you want to sit there and analyze it. And by the way, there's a certain fictitious physics thing that has been dealt with in many other films, which this movie acknowledges in the dialogue. There's a certain conceit, a certain genre of science fiction, a subgenre that we have seen in many films throughout science fiction history. I'm not going to say what it is, but they deal with that. Like I had not an argument, but John Campia was telling me what he objected to maybe he's not wrong, but I think they posit a very interesting and new take on this particular subgenre of science fiction. I gotta tell you, by the end of this movie, and by the way, we did not see any post credits. Just so you know, I don't know if there's any post credits. I would assume that there's probably one, because at the very end of the credits, a sound effect started and it looked like we were moving into some post credit scene. They cut that off. I don't know what it means. I don't know. I was hoping it would be the Silver Surfer forging a surfboard. Can't tell you. Didn't see it. Have no idea what it is. And if it was the Silver Surfer forging a surfboard, I wouldn't tell you. But I love this movie. I want to see this movie 10 times, 100 times. I felt such. This movie goes so many different places and does so many different things. I was so excited to see this film because the people that made it knew exactly what we as audience members wanted to see. They're on our level, which is all you can ask from filmmakers that are working in the franchise space, that are making movies that we want to see. Thank God they brought James Gunn back, because I went into a bar after this film. What was on the TV? Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I mean, I feel that when we're watching Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, look, I read all the comics. I understand. I understand that Civil War, the comic, was very different than Civil War, the movie. But the essence of what it was about was still there. The ethical conundrum that sprouts up between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, right like it does in the comic, it's different. They've had to recreate. You can't do what you did in a comic book. Comic books are not written to be on the big screen. It's a whole different vibe. So what you do is you adapt them. And the genius of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they look at a writer like Ed Brubaker's run on Winter Soldier. They're like, okay, let's do that. The essence of what he wrote is there. The actual details are changed. They have to make it work on a film. And as somebody who read those comics, I'm like, I get it. Comic books are comic books. It's just like people are still like, Tom Bombadil wasn't in Lord of the Rings. You know what? If he was in Lord of the Rings, we wouldn't be talking about Lord of the Rings now. We just wouldn't. Endgame was, I loved it so much. I was so excited by what it did. And by the end of the film, when this movie cuts to black and the credits roll, I guarantee you will have you will feel you've had one of the most satisfying motion picture experiences you've ever had in a movie theater. Kind of like you felt when Annie Lennox starts singing Into the West at the end of Return of the King. I mean, I equate it. This was Marvel's Return of the King. It really was. And I loved it so much. And I felt like I was in the hands of entertainers that knew exactly what they were doing, knew exactly what their audience wanted. They had thought of these things. They had thought of what we had thought about. It was almost like they had read the internet over the last couple of years and gave us what we wanted. And that's what I loved, man. That's what was so exciting to see. And so, no spoilers. Not going to tell you anything. What I am going to say is, you guys and girls and gentle beings and non-binary alien people, whatever you identify yourself as, if you are a fan of what we call cinefantastique, science fiction, fantasy, horror, in all of its myriad forms, if you are a fan of this kind of cinema, you're going to love this movie. I promise you. It is wildly entertaining. It changes genre every 10 minutes. It's so great. And then, as many people have talked about, the last hour of this film, I loved the first 2 hours. I loved every moment of this movie because a lot of it was character development. And if you wonder, are they going to deal with the aftermath of the snapping, the decimation? Yes, they do. And it's fucking heartbreaking. And I loved every minute of it. This film is great. And I'm not being paid. By the way, if Marvel wants to write me a check, how many times have I talked about my Lord and Savior, Kevin Feige, for the last 4 years? I know he liked my one and only movie, Free Enterprise, but I've never met him. I don't know Kevin Feige. I have no reason. I'm not on the Marvel payroll, but goddamn did I love this movie. I love their films. I love everything that they've done. I love the actors they've cast. I've had such a good time as a middle-aged dude. I didn't think anything could make me feel like I was 8 years old again and bouncing off the chair. As we say on the John Campea show, I was Ghibli, man. I was Ghibli from the first. Well, the first scene made me not Ghibli. I won't tell you why, but I was still Ghibli because it made me non-Ghibli and made me care. But goddamn, I love this movie. And I don't mean to oversell it. I have no financial stake in it. I don't even own Disney stock. But goddamn, man, I really hope that I can get that 3D disc of this because I can't wait to get this movie in 4K. And by the way, today, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Captain America, Civil War did come out on 4K disc. So anyway, enough of that. I'm going to go to questions now, and I will answer anything I can about this movie the way you want me to answer it, but say what you want. Tell me what you want to hear. I might tell you about it. I might not, but goddamn, I love this movie so much, and I'm so happy that I am going to be able to see it in the Cinerama Dome on Thursday at 6 o'clock. Elizabeth and I are going with her daughter, Sophie. We're going to be with a theater full of people. I'm going to be stoked, and there are moments in this movie, even today with the audience, a jaded bunch of genre pundits. Even they were Ghibli too. They felt like they were shaking in their boots. They were crying. It was great. It was fantastic. So let me just share, celebrate the love, as the Ewoks would say. Yub nub. I'm all about this movie. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, I've got some questions. I got all kinds of things from people. Let's start with that. Meister 25 says, I was nervous of what some specific critics would think of Endgame. Across the board, they loved it, and it revitalized my excitement. Hashtag faith restored. First of all, you should have faith of the heart, Star Trek fans will tell you, because Infinity War was dope, dude. They're not going to let you down. They did not let you down. And by the way, there's a reason this movie is not called Infinity War Part 2. It's a very different film. The Russo brothers were not lying. It's a very different film, and man, was it fun. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Echo Base Network says, were there end credit scenes? There were not. There were no end credit scenes. That doesn't mean that there aren't any. Traditionally, they have not played end credit scenes in press screenings. I do think there's at least one. I know that spoilers have reported there was some 4-minute long end credit scene. We didn't see it, but I think at the end of the movie, normally after the animated credits roll, there's for those of you who are fans of Star Trek 6, there's a very Star Trek 6 credit conceit in this film, a little reminiscent of that, which I really enjoyed. But maybe there are end credit scenes. They did not play them for us, and everybody waited to see. But perhaps there are, but not in our screening. Darth Suthius says, hey, Mr. B, 17 of them in King of the Monsters. One has to wonder if we'll see the likes of Anguirus, Batra, or Megaguirus. I honestly don't know what Kong is going to do against Godzilla. Can't wait. Well, Darth Suthius is talking about the fact that we learned in the new trailer for Godzilla King of the Monsters that dropped today that there are 17 Titans. I'm hoping for Megalon myself. Who knows, man? I was like, 17? Wow, what's Godzilla going to do? 17 against 1? Wow. Dieter Bastian in Germany says he's here. He says, by the way, Dieter, very active member of the Post-Geek Singularity community. He says, back from Endgame, emotionally way more charged than Infinity War, but with a very different pacing. Good balance to Infinity War. Characters that came a little short in Infinity War drove the plot. Here, the showdown is just epic. I shouldn't have said even that. But Dieter, you and I park our shuttles in the same shuttle bay, or our shuttlecraft are devoured by the same 11,000-mile-long space amoeba. By God, I'm the same. I feel the same way that you do. So good. Willow Yang is here. She says, I'm relieved to see you've made it out of the theater in one piece. I was worried that you'd have exploded out of joy and excitement. Oh, I did. I did. It was embarrassing. I had to pull out my innards. They were blown out all over the Disney backlot. I had to scoop in my innards and put them back in, and I had no idea how long our intestines really are until I saw them hanging from the trees on the Disney backlot, Willow. You know what? I needed a molecular biologist to help me out. Unfortunately, I had to do it myself. Little embarrassing. Little embarrassing. It was fantastic. It was amazing. Storm Chaser 78 says, I can't wait to see Endgame Thursday, 6 p.m. IMAX 2D. Glad to hear it is great and ends the 22 movie saga on a strong final hour. Dude, it's a strong final 3 hours. From the opening scene, your jaw will be on the floor. No one, when that Marvel Studios logo hits, you all are going to be going, oh, shit. Guaranteed. Keep up the great work. Well, Storm Chaser, thank you very much. But the great work was done by everybody at Marvel Studios. They did the great work. Kudos to the Russo brothers, to all the actors, to everybody in the film. My God, what a fun romp. Murray Reich is here after John saw it the second time with you. Did he change his opinion or is it the same? How does your review compare to his? When can we go pee? By the way, you can't go pee. There's no time in this movie you can go pee. It moves like a gunshot. You leave for 5 minutes, you leave for 2 minutes, you're going to miss something. And you're going to be like, wait, what? What'd I miss? Here's what I did. John and I had a little power lunch. We were on the show today. We stopped at this Italian joint. I had 3 Diet Cokes in the morning while we ate our Italian sausage pasta, because I knew if I had 3 and I had water while we were doing the show, that it would have filled my bladder. And I let loose at the restaurant, or I waited till I got to the theater, let loose. I was completely cleansed, no problem. It was fantastic. Go drink lots before you go, whether it's water, whatever, and go to the bathroom beforehand. You will not want to get up in this film. There is no time to pee. Don't do it. Don't do it. Seriously, don't. But to answer your question, John, when we were leaving, he said he had even more nitpicks. A lot of it had to do with a certain science fiction conceit I mentioned earlier. I'll talk about that on Sunday when John and I probably do our epic spoiler chat together. I don't want to spoil it now, but yeah, John and I come at this, I think, from different angles, which is great, which is why we work well together. But he didn't change his opinion. Darth Suthius says, as I work third shift, I'll be sacrificing precious sleep time to see Endgame before work on Saturday. I'll be tired as fuck the next day, but all is good. Let me tell you, dude, I was like, when I got up this morning, I was kind of drag-assing. I had to get to John's house early today to be on the show. I was like, man, I hope I don't fall asleep, even though it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Dude, you're not going to fall asleep. Even if you haven't slept for 48 hours, you're not going to fall asleep. I guarantee it. Wow. This movie it's amazing. Anthony89 is here. New to your channel. Found you on the John Campea show. Well, first of all, Anthony, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for coming here. And thanks for supporting the channel, considering, you see me on John's show, but maybe I'm a monumental douchebag on my own. You never know. But I thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm sitting here waxing rhapsodic because, I feel like, look, it's so good. It's so good. Bennett Hardy is here. TCL, here I come. My life's been leading to this. TCL, Grauman's Chinese Theater. Bennett, let me just tell you something. If you live in Los Angeles or in the LA area, go see this movie, whether it's in 3D or whether it's just you want to see it in flat 2D IMAX. You have to go to the Chinese Theater and see this. My friend Dave Hargrove is going. He might have an extra ticket for me. I think I need to go. I saw Infinity War with him there because it's in IMAX. I want to see this shit in IMAX 3D. That's the way to see this. Gigantic cinema, big screen. Wow. And I'm, Bennett, report back, sir, because I think you're in for a treat. Wait till you see what that image and sound look like. I hope you sit in the M&N rows or close to that, sit in the middle. Man, you're going to have a good time. Anyone who's going to the TLC Chinese Theater, you guys are going to love this shit. It is dope. Now let's see what anyone else is here who has to say. First of all, thanks for everyone supporting the channel. Curtis Siebold says, unfortunately, I have to wait until Sunday, as that's the only time we can have a babysitter for all of our kids. But to get by, I'm going to really enjoy hearing others talk about it glowingly. Well, Curtis, if I'm not glowing enough, I should probably stick an LED in my mouth so my cheeks glow. It was that great. Go spoiler free. I cannot. Anybody who spoils this movie should be publicly shamed, like Cersei Lannister walking through King's Landing. I mean, shame. Anybody who spoils this film for destroyers of joy all. They're terrible. Just stay off the internet. The less you know about this movie, the better. It's so much fun. And every new scene is a discovery. It's so good. JPG says, sorry, Rob, I'll check this out after the 25th. As I posted earlier, just checking your channel to support you. Can't wait for Thursday night and Friday. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Trying to make it spoiler free. Basically, I tried out to be a Yell King in the 7th grade or maybe the 8th grade. Me and Matt Rivera, we didn't have Yell Kings at our junior high school. I was dared to do it. And, I'm a showman. So me and Matt Rivera tried out for Yell Kings, and it became a huge... Before the hashtag Me Too movement, we started a men's cheerleading movement at my own junior high school. In hindsight, probably not the best thing to do, but on the other hand, it was an experience. Kind of like this movie is. It's an experience. Goalie Dad 33 is here. It's almost 11 p.m. Eastern, bedtime, laugh out loud. I will watch the recording in the morning. Thanks for doing this, Rob. I'm talking to my son and nephew opening night, the 25th, primetime, and again Sunday too, or I'm taking my son. Well, Goalie Dad 33, you are the man. You guys are going to have a bonding experience. It's going to be so much fun. Wow. Terry Flynn's here. Terry, wow. 'Twas a shame 2 Irish proper news channels broke review embargo. Accidentally on purpose to get clicks. Look suspicious. Being doubly careful now till I see it on Thursday morning UK time. Yeah, anybody who spoils this movie, they're a destroyer of joy. Again, contact their significant others or their future employers. Tell them how mean and terrible they are for doing this. You're taking away joy and enjoyment from a lot of people because this movie is dope. Brian Eng says, Rob, didn't you get something to eat with John after the movie? No, I got something to drink, but then John left. John doesn't drink. So we had a long conversation, but yeah, John's not. We went to the bar. Dylan Chavez says, did everyone have to move away from you slowly as the movie was playing? No, because I think everybody was feeling as ghibli as I was, because I was very ghibli watching the movie. It was fantastic. But no, I was pretty low key, as I was watching, because I didn't know. I kept like slowly reaching up and wiping the tears from my face. Like it was rough, dude. I mean, I haven't cried so much in a movie since I saw there are 3 movies actually I've cried in my life. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, The Color Purple, and The Shawshank Redemption. This was the 4th, and I cried more in this movie than I've cried in any other movie. And it was involuntary. Like, I'm trying to be all stoic and cool. I cried in this movie. If you're a fan of these movies and they work for you, if you love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you grew up with comic books, you grew up with these characters, you grew up with Star Wars and Star Trek, and I mean, this movie was rough, man. It was a journey. It was pretty amazing. Dale M says, damn the delays, laugh out loud. Hey, everyone. Hope all is well with y'all. Man, it is. Andrea Andrea, Iron Man, Black Widow. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to say that. You, my friend, are a destroyer of joy. Andrea, pardon me, fuck you. Fuck you and fuck you, spoilerific people. I can't believe that was there. The Beyonder was not in it. You know what? Fuck anybody that'll spoil this movie. Why do you feel the need to come on and spoil the film? Why do you have to do that to people? Why? Why? Is your life so empty? You know what? You deserve to be decimated in the snapping. That's what I have to say. Come on. Joe Zapata, definitely want to hear the R&B review. Ken Dixon says, no spoilers. I'm not giving you spoilers. I'm sorry, people. I don't have a moderator now. Mike Bodden is gone. I'm sorry, people were spoiling it. Steve James says, Endgame. Oh, wait. I missed all that. There's super chats. DC Patience says, date night with awesome seats Thursday. Got a sitter, yo. Well, DC Patience, you've been a long-time viewer and supporter of both me and John Campia. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you got a sitter. That is dope. You'll not be you're gonna love it. Anthony 89 says R&B, the Jabba the Hutt of movie talk. Jabba the Hutt. Come on, man. I'm looking a little svelte. I'm not drinking like I used to. Jabba the Hutt. Jabba no bata. Adrian A says, hey now, look, dude, Star Wars also made lots of money. Doesn't mean it's a complete success to date. It's the brand. It still holds water, but for how long with that direction? Same with CM, I guess, Captain Marvel. There was no ending scene as well in Australia, only hammering sounds. Okay, that's interesting. Perhaps there is no end scene in this movie. That was the same with us. Chris Dodges says, been waiting to hear your review since I heard you on the show with John. Now I got to rewind the live to hear your take. Yeah. Jamie Demeter says, S.J. Owens, he needed a Kleenex, but not for the reason that you think. Oh, come on now. I got to say, it wasn't that. It wasn't like I'm overexcited and I needed Kleenex for that reason. I needed Kleenex because I was crying, and I didn't have any Kleenex, to be honest. I didn't need a sock either, Uncle Remus. Come on now. Joker79, Jamie John says, Captain Marvel was the best she's been character-wise in Endgame. Yeah, she was great, I have to say. Angel Feliciano says, you remember Space Amoeba, Robert? Come on, man. From the Star Trek episode, The Immunity Syndrome, from the second season, one of my favorite episodes of the original series. Topher Rock says, is epic a good way to describe it? Topher Rocks, it doesn't do it justice. Brad Brickley is here. Captain Brad Brickley. I'm so fucking stoked. Thursday can't come soon enough. No, it cannot. You will love it. Joe Zapata says, Professor Hulk, yes or no? Come on, dude. What do you want me to say? You think I'm going to answer that question? I'm not going to answer. I will say this. This movie has peak Hulk. You're going to love Ruffalo's Hulk performance. It's so good. Richard Smack says, trust me on this. I was worried as well. And yeah, don't be Captain Marvel, a.k.a. Plank. But yeah, she's barely in it. Come on, dude. What do you say? No. You can't be talking that way. Can't be talking that way. GW427 says, I'm so happy to hear this. I'm so excited. My heart is jacked. I can't wait to see this with a crowd of rousing fans. What a time to be alive. I agree with you. If I've ever wanted to see a movie with a room full of people, that is this movie. And by God, I get to do it at 6 o'clock on Thursday night. Yes. It is. You're going to like it. Henry K says, I think all the characters will appear in their ultimate forms. Just speculation, not a spoiler. Well, you'll see. It's very interesting what they do. Clarissa35F says, I love what I have seen the Russos have been doing with her from the trailers. I think Captain Marvel is in good hands. I think she is too. David Crabtree says, Star Trek 6 credits. Man, if they do a signature thing, that will be pretty awesome. It would be, wouldn't it? Curtis Siebold says, did you catch anything that wasn't in the marketing? Oh, there's so much that was in the marketing. And by the way, anybody, well, never mind. I'm not going to say that. 22 Media says, I disagree, but even if so, that's not at all in any part of the movie. I don't know what that is. Christian Carlisle says, hey man, you're cool. I hope that's to me. Learning Disabled Spock says, so is Endgame the end-all, be-all of comic book movies? It's pretty damn good. I mean, look, here's the thing. I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe are the most comic book of comic book movies. They're the most akin to what it was like to read comics, to follow comics. Christopher Nolan in The Dark Knight tried to turn his movies with the Dark Knight trilogy into non-comic book adaptations. These movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the great strength of them, I think, is that they embrace their comic book origins. It's the closest you'll come. The same reason that I read comic books obsessively as a kid and let's face it, in my mid-30s, was because of the storytelling experience, the blast you get from movies like this. And they've done such a great job. Such a great job. So yeah, I mean, they're great. Cass Graphics says, how much cry time? I got to tell you, my eyes were leaking unexpectedly throughout the 3-hour running time. So that's all I'm going to tell you. Anthony89 says, that spoiler, I assume it's true because you got mad. Not going to say what, you know what? Just have no idea. I'm not going to talk spoilers. Steve F says, I was there for Star Wars, Alien, The Wrath of Khan, The Matrix, and now Endgame. My life has come full circle. Thanks, Rob. It really has. What you were saying is true. I mean, Steve F is right. We've lived in amazing times, and what I got as a kid growing up, first with things like Jaws 75, Logan's Run 76, Star Wars 77, Superman the movie 78, Dawn of the Dead and Alien and the Black Hole in 89. I mean in 79, 1980, The Empire Strikes Back, Superman 2 in 81, and then in 82, the summer of 82 is the greatest geek year ever. In 2 months, we got Conan the Barbarian, The Road Warrior opening in the States, Tron, E.T., Poltergeist, Star Trek II, John Carpenter's The Thing, Blade Runner. It was an amazing summer. But it's great. It's great that we've lived in this time. M. Shea says, I cry when I saw Holmes and Watson. Yeah, I think a lot of people did, but not for the reasons you would expect. Murray Reich said, should I wear noise-canceling headphones in the theater to avoid spoilers when I see it Sunday? Laugh out loud. Kidding. No, Murray. You know what? I'll tell you something. When we came out, we were at the second screening on the Disney lot today, and when we came out, there were a huge line of people waiting, and all of us were buzzing and talking about what we'd just seen. And there were a lot of people in line holding their ears like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. So that's not necessarily a bad idea. Don't think it's as funny as you might think. Magic K says, is it necessary to see Endgame in IMAX format? You know what? After seeing the movie, I would say it's not necessary, but by God, I would see it. DC Patience is back. She says, I'm off Friday and Monday for Endgame. Kid is at school. Well, that's stoked. You're stoked. CT says, stoked you got to see Endgame early. Excited to see the Russo brothers' take on Captain Marvel. It's pretty great. Mugen 008 says, writ large, RMB, writ large. I'm beyond excited. As well you should be. Darth Suthia says, I recently came across one of the movie Trivia Schmodown's posters, and I swear I saw you on it. I haven't watched, but are you still competing? I am no longer competing on the movie Trivia Schmodown, but I'm managing. My team is the family, Andrew Guy and Drew McWeeny. I've got a great team. We're going all the way to the top. We're going to win all the belts everywhere. So there you go. Vegetable Tube is here. Can speak on the music in the movie. Yes, Alan Silvestri did the score. I loved the music in the film. There's also surprisingly a number of source cues, and what that means is that that's previously existing music, the same way that James Gunn made good use of source cues in the Guardians of the Galaxy. This movie makes a very interesting use of a number of source cues, and I thought that was pretty great. Early on, you're going to be like, wow, this is interesting. This is different from what we've seen. And Silvestri's score is great. Sit through the credits, even if there's no end credit sequence. Dieter Bastian says, got teared up multiple times for different reasons. No mid or end credit scene here in Germany too. It wouldn't fit this kind of MCU movie, in my opinion. 10 out of 10. I don't think this movie, I'm beginning to believe that it does not have end credit scenes, and nor should it. And I'll tell you why. This movie ends on a scene that I think is so perfect and so wonderful. And it's cry time, kids. You will cry. I putting a post-credit scene would diminish what came before. So I have no problem. This is the end of what they're now calling the Infinity Saga. So good. You guys are going to love it. Anthony89 says, I'm gay for Chris Hemsworth and Evans. Well, Anthony89, I too. When Chris Evans takes off his shirt and rips open that rips across that wood in, what is it, Age of Ultron, how can you not be gay for him? But without spoiling anything, I don't think you're going to be as gay for Thor as you might think you're going to be in this movie. That's all I'm going to say. Tom Bateman is here. Tom, how are you, sir? Rob, has Endgame now set the sequel gold standard? I wouldn't say that. This movie could not have existed without the 21 movies that came before it, and there's never been a movie in the history of movies that needed 21 movies to build up to it. So it's different. It's amazing. Adrian A says, end of the movie, they all got together and then they lived happily ever after. Sure. Absolutely. If that's what you say. Who am I to debate you? Ken Dixon says, I'm sorry, Rob. I'm pissed that an asshat would get on here and give a spoiler. I know you didn't mean to confirm it. I still love you, but I'm still disconnecting from all media until I see the movie Thursday. I would agree. And I didn't confirm anything. Did I confirm anything? I don't believe I did. Helsing 7747 says, today is my birthday and I need a spoiler about Endgame by accident. I'm sorry. I'm sorry somebody spoiled. I'm sorry. I wish I had somebody in this chat, but you know what? Look out for that person. If you find them, go after them for the rest of their lives. May there be a pox on them and their family. No, I'm kidding. I mean, it's only a spoiler for a movie, but you know what? They're sad individuals that feel the need to come into my chat and spoil it for you. Angel Feliciano says, just from the pre-sold tickets, Endgame has already made a fortune. Yes, it's true. Steve James said, did anyone else lose sound or is it just me? I hope not. I hope he didn't lose sound. That would suck. Akeem Forbes says, Captain Marvel got an A cinema score. The average person liked it and recommended it for Endgame. Yeah. Destiny Captain says, Burnettwork, did Rom make an appearance? Okay. Here's a spoiler for you guys. Rom Space Knight does not make an appearance in Endgame, but I think he's still out there. I think Galador is out there. I think the Dire Wraiths are out there. Who knows? Helsing's already read that. Let's see. What else is here? Let's see. Chandra Surya says, hi from Malaysia. Well, hello back to you. Glad to hear you're from Malaysia and you're here. Thanks for watching. Clarissa 35F says, I knew superhero movies took a turn for the best when I saw Superman in 1978 for the very first time. I think so too. Akeem Forbes says, I like to see Rob getting this engagement. Okay, first of all, there is 642 people here right now. This is by far the biggest chat, the biggest live chat I have ever had. I want to thank all of you for being here, all of you members of the Post-Geek Singularity community. I would implore all of you, please subscribe to the channel. For those of you who are new, and I'm going to say there's got to be a lot of people here, this is a place of positivity. This is where we come to share what we love. We hopefully it's a place where everybody can share their ideas and communicate. It's an open forum, but it's all about being positive. Not because I'm some kumbaya dude, but because it's fucking awesome. We live in an awesome time, people. And isn't it great that we have this movie coming? And I can't believe that I'm a middle-aged man close to death, and I get to be as excited as I am for Endgame. And I already saw it, and I'm excited to see it again. Oh my God, did I love this movie. It was so good. And I want to thank everybody that's here, and that somebody just dropped out of the chat. I understand. I get a little excited. Let me have a little Diet Coke. I know people will be like, you shouldn't drink Diet Coke. I don't, but I ran out of my Pellegrino. So, got to share the love, right? Celebrate the love, as the Ewoks would say. Mark Hazelton said, I've seen you before, but I'm subscribing now because you seem very cool. Well, Mark, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I hope all of you subscribe. But I also, here's the thing. What I love is I'm trying to build a community here. And if you guys don't know, I have a website that's adjacent. It's the Burnettwork.net. And I read letters. People send me letters in from all over the world. I want you guys to send your letters about anything genre, science fiction, fantasy, horror, comics, action figures, anime, board games, whatever it is you want. People have been writing me letters about their experience. How did you come to fandom? What are your stories? I got a letter from somebody the other day about their first experience at a convention from Ireland. 14 years old from Ireland, wrote me a letter about his first convention experience. I want to hear about all of that. But please, if you're going to write me letters at the Burnettwork.net, please tell me that it's okay to share your letter because I want to read them. Usually I read more than one. I read one today, but since there's a lot of people here, it's great to have you. Welcome to everyone. and this is the Post-Geek Singularity community. I feel that since there's a lot of people here, I want to explain what that means. There's a guy named Ray Kurzweil who wrote a book about the coming singularity, about when artificial intelligence becomes sentient, becomes alive. So I came up with this term, the post-geek singularity, because now all of us, we used to be disenfranchised geeks that love science fiction, fantasy, horror movies, whatever, and it was not mainstream, but now it is. All of us are geeks. We live in a world, the post-geek singularity, geekdom reached a singularity, it exploded, and now we live in a world where we're all geeks. Everybody is a geek. I was sitting next to a guy at a bar tonight. He was telling me that he's a Fish, the band Fish. He's a Fish fan, but his wife, who works at Disney, loves all this stuff, and he's not really connected to it. He was asking me if he liked Endgame, and I was like, dude, you got to go see this movie, but you got to see Infinity War first. He's like, well, am I going to get it? I'm like, you'll get it. You'll understand. If you're a Fish fan, you're smart enough. You'll get it. And he even convinced me I should go follow Fish around. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I like Fish, but I'm not going to follow them around. Should I? Mark Hazelton says, thank you for the show. I appreciate that. Destiny Captain says, Rob, no Tranya. Well, to tell you the truth, I'm trying to get my youthful face back when I was, young and pretty and didn't have so much of a chin. Had good cheekbones, though. So, by not drinking, I'm trying to get that svelte look back, trying to look like a superhero myself for the summer. Angry Tom 316 says, hey, Rob, glad to hear you have love the movie. I've got my tickets for Friday. Can't wait to go see this movie. I love all superheroes. I do too. Do you like Steel, though? I know. I mean, Steel. Is Steel ever going to be reassessed as a great film? Probably not. But, I'm thinking about it. DC Patient says, do we mean emails? Well, send me emails. Send me emails to theburnetwork.net. Please, I want to read them all. If you go back and watch this is the 101st live chat. If you're here, send me emails. I love reading them, and I love hearing your stories. It's great. Dawn Basham says, past my bedtime here in Indiana, but I had to see the excitement in your face that I'd seen it. Just watched Voyager premiere on H&I. I'm excited for Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Night, Rob, and everyone. Well, Don, thank you. When I see Indiana, I can't help but think Close Encounters of the Third Kind, because there were flying saucers over Indiana in the beginning of that movie. Abby Victoria says, talk about Avengers, clickbait, Terminator. That was Mark Hazelton. Abby, am I not talking Avengers enough? Eugene Keeler says, ugh, I wish you didn't say that close to death line. Not really superstitious, but Schnepp said that a few days before he was taken from us. Oh, I didn't know that, Eugene. Well, this is my whole YouTube career is a celebration of John Schnepp. I hope I'm not close to death, because there's still 4 episodes of Game of Thrones to watch, and I'd like to get to the end of that. But otherwise, if it happened, I've had a great life. It's been terrific. I lived to see 22 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and end on such a wonderful note. But I really don't want to die, because I want to see episode 9, and I'd like to see Star Trek get good again. We'll see. Clarissa 35F, female, says, Rob, I have to applaud you, how welcoming you are to everyone in geekdom, and how hard you try to be inclusive of everyone, because everyone should be included. I mean, as geeks, shouldn't we all be included? Isn't it great that we live in a time where we've got Game of Thrones running and we have Endgame? Come on, something for everybody. We all live in wondrous times, my friends, and we should celebrate it. Celebrate the love. Go back to the Ewoks, the original version of the Ewoks, the Yub Nub song, because it's pretty great. And by the way, if you go on Thursday or Friday or Saturday or Sunday, I guarantee you're going to have a smile on your face for at least a week. You will. NYC Jeffrey 13 says, the anticipation for Endgame is insane. It is insane. And by the way, it's well represented. It's you're going to like it. Jeremiah Gruby is here. Hello there. I found your stream on a whim. I like what you're about, and you have my subscription. Are you a fan of the Indiana Jones movies by any chance? Jeremiah, dude, let me tell you, when I first saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, I first saw Raiders before it opened. 2 weeks before it opened, I went to the Factoria Cinemas in Bellevue, Washington. And I had to see, well, I took my friends to see Excalibur. You had to go see Excalibur, and this was a public sneak. So if you bought a ticket to see Excalibur, you got to see this new movie from George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. And people were like, oh, well, I got to go see that. I mean, we're on the heels of Star Wars and Empire and Jaws and Close Encounters, and of course, 1941, but that didn't matter. Raiders blew me away. I love the Indiana Jones franchise. Man, Raiders, and by the way, I'm a Temple of Doom fan. It's my second favorite Indiana Jones movie. I know everyone loves Last Crusade, but Last Crusade's number 3 for me. Mukbang Review says all the critics love you in New York. Dude, I'm a huge Prince fan. And man, I loved hearing you say that. For those of you who don't know, if you don't love Prince, well, you should. But if you don't, I understand. But you have to get his album 1999. And I know everyone talks about Delirious and Little Red Corvette, but International Lover, All the Critics Love You in New York, DMSR, Let's Pretend We're Married. This is some classic Prince. Just saying. Richard Lee says, if you spoil Endgame, Gilbert will eat you. For those new people who are here, Gilbert is my dog who frequently participates in these chats along with Skippy John Jones, our cat. He is not here. I don't know. Maybe I've heard him patting around, but usually he comes and eats. He does ASMR. He like crunches his cookies. He's part of the show. Garth Tiffin says, I still want to see Free Enterprise released in 4K, by the way. Garth, so do I. For those of you who don't know, I wrote and directed a movie starring William Shatner and Eric McCormack called Free Enterprise. June 4th marks its 20th anniversary. I'm working on a 4K release. Information to follow. Donnie Pearson says, I love the music of Prince. His tune 1999 was an inspiration for the Phil Collins tune Sussudio. I didn't know that, but I like Phil Collins. That's interesting. Ben Bamboo says, Purple Rain Prince for me. Love Purple Rain Prince for me. Angel Feliciano asks, where's Gilbert? Gilbert is probably on the bed with Elizabeth. He likes to chill out by this time of the night. He's probably pissed I'm not there with him. He likes to, as we call, den up because he's a pack animal. Elizabeth Bell says, Rob, you missed some super chats. Well, yes, because I haven't gotten there yet. Gammon says, unfortunately, I saw 2 big spoilers. And I'm worried it's going to taint my experience. Since you mentioned you saw a spoiler, can you boost my morale a bit? Love your content. Here's the thing. Even if you've heard about spoilers in this movie, by the time you get to the whatever it was spoiled, you'll forget it. You'll be so enamored of what's going on, and you will totally forget about spoilers. I guarantee you, because the movie is crazy good, and you won't remember. Ian Wendo, is it Ian Wendo? Ian Wendo says, Far From Home will be interesting. Yeah, I'm very curious now about Far From Home. That's the Spider-Man movie that comes out in July. Very, very curious. Not going to say why. I'm just curious. JBZ73 says, can't wait for Thursday. Can't wait for Thursday. Can't wait for Thursday and Sunday. DC Patient says, Stanley cameo better in Spider-Verse or Endgame? Come on. Think I'm going to answer that? I'm not. But thank you for the support. Darth Suthius says, well, crap, now I'm more curious about Spider-Man Far From Home. Ian Wendo says, just watched. I'm so happy. Anthony89 says, chances of survivor of leukemia, worry for Doshi. For those who don't know, Doshi, who is a longtime viewer of this channel and also of the John Campea show, he is a person that's always supported me financially through super chats. He was diagnosed with leukemia this week, according to him. And all I can do is say I have a good friend who beat back terminal leukemia twice. It's better than ever. The survival rates are better than ever. And I hope that that Doshi pulls through. I think he will. And I hope that we see him for a long time to come on this channel. And so here's to Doshi. Let's dedicate this chat to Doshi because I know he's excited about both Endgame and Episode 9. Murray Reich says, honest trailer just ripped Howard the Duck. Well deserving because that movie sucked. Yeah, the original Howard the Duck is, you know what? The brief appearance that Howard the Duck has made in the MCU so far is way better than the whole movie. So not good. Aaron H says, well, if Endgame puts a smile on my face, Thrones is going to wipe that smile right off. I don't think Dany's going to die. Her and John need to finish that talk. You know what? I don't know, man. I think the entire Game of Thrones from the very beginning has been about the Stark family, and I think it will end in being about the Stark family. Kang Ho says, are you satisfied with Cap's arc in Endgame? Not going to say. Not going to answer that. But if you're a Captain America fan, I will say there's a lot to unpack in Endgame. There really is. Chris843 says, oh, you know what? You know what, dude? Why do you got to do that? Oh, why can't I? Why can't I? No. Oh, wait. No, that's not true. Okay. What you're saying is, oh, I can't get rid of this guy. Why can't I? I can't do it. I don't know why. This guy, he for whatever reason, I'm not allowed to. You know what, guys? I'm gonna turn this chat off now, and I apologize for that. When for whatever reason I can't turn certain people off here, it is very frustrating. But if people are going to come in here and do that kind of thing, it's time to turn off this chat. I'm very disappointed, but I'm sorry about that. Let's see. There is Danny Nichols says, call me crazy, but I believe John Schnepp got his own Endgame screening in heaven and didn't even spoil it for the other angels. Long live John Schnepp. I agree. Marquis and I did a video coming out of the screening today, and it celebrated what we did a year ago with John. And look for that video on my Twitter and Instagram. XXX Your Disease says, I'm a leukemia survivor. Dosha can do that too. God bless. I agree. Dieter Bastian says, don't forget Cobra Kai second season, Rob, since it was a midnight screening considering Endgame. I'm still up. It's off to bed for me after Robservations. And then it's time to hit YouTube Dojo. Yes, which is good. Ryan Hegman says, been refreshing Fandango for days trying to get Imax tickets for Thursday premiere and finally caught a good seat that was returned. I had tickets for Friday and so afraid of being spoiled. Persistence paid off. Weeping Odin says, is Endgame as good as Return of the King? You know what? I'll answer that. I think as much as a superhero movie that's based on a lot of disparate elements, different comic stories, many comic stories over many decades, whereas Return of the King was based on a literary property of 3 novels. Amazingly enough, I would say yes. If you love the Lord of the Rings movies, I think this film is a worthy successor to Return of the King. I absolutely think so. I really do. And I think it's great. Anyway, Matthew Ferguson says, yeah, I think I'm going to end this. I don't know why I can't. When people are spoiling it for me, it's very frustrating. But listen, I'm going to end this chat. I want to say thank you to everybody who was here. All of you new viewers, please subscribe if you like this channel. Share this channel. I'll be here. I'm also going to be on with John Campea tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And I always tell my viewers, first of all, the people that know this channel is sponsored by Lucky Tiger men's grooming products. Lucky Tiger for men who want to look good and feel great. You can go to their look at their products at getluckytiger.com or at clubluckytiger.com. And their CEO, after he sponsored me, I wanted to know why. So I'm like, dude, you guys helped me out because I told you guys to write him, Alan Murphy, their CEO at Get Lucky Tiger or Club Lucky Tiger. He finally agreed. I got to interview him yesterday. You're going to see that in a couple days. And it's great to have a sponsorship of this channel. He appreciated the positivity. I want to say thanks for all these new viewers. This is the most viewers I've ever had on this channel. I want to thank you all. Please, again, subscribe. We are the Post-Geek Singularity community. This is a place where people should be able to come share their enthusiasm for all things science fiction, fantasy, horror, whether it's movies, comics, television shows, role-playing games, action figures, cosplay, whatever your jam is. You can come here and share it with like-minded people, except the douchebag assholes who spoil shit. I don't know why you want to do that. I mean, I'm calling your future employers and any significant other you might have. I'm keeping a list. I'm like Santa Claus, man. You're on my naughty spoiler list. Shouldn't spoil the movie, man. Don't be a destroyer of joy. But anyway, what I like to say is that every person that you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. All you have to do is listen. And with that, I bid you all farewell. I want to thank you all for being here, supporting the channel. I cannot stress enough, I am not a Marvel shill, not at all. If I was a Marvel shill, I'd say I was. Pay me. I'll take whatever money you want to give me. DC, Marvel, I don't care. If you want to support the channel, basically, I just really want Hot Toys action figures. That's all you have to buy me. I'm cheap. I'm a cheap date. But for those people who think I'm some kind of a Marvel shill, I'm not, man. I just had one hell of a good time at the movies tonight, and you will too. By God, take your friends. You're going to love it. And Cost Graphics sent me a super chat. Cost, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So all of you, whether you're, male, female, non-binary, a gentle being, an alien, whatever you are, all my friends from all around the world, I don't care what color, race, religious belief, sexuality, whatever you are, whoever you are. If you're a fan of science fiction, fantasy, horror in all of its myriad forms, this is the place for you. We're here to share ideas and enthusiasm and be inclusive and have a good time. And all of you are going to love Endgame, I promise. And I want to thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate all the support. Join me every day. And as always, you can send me letters about anything. I will read them aloud. Send them to me at my website at theburnettwork.net. Tell me about how did you become a fan? What's your favorite movie? Why do you like the things you like? Tell me about your first date going to a superhero movie. I don't know. Whatever it is. And if you have artwork to share, stories, tattoos, action figures, please look at the Burnettwork.net Imagination Connoisseur Gallery. Submit me stuff. I want to build it, make it a vibrant community. Basically, we're here to celebrate the love, like the Ewoks said. So thank you again for being here. I appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow, but have a better day.